Hello and welcome to the final lesson of IELTS Essay Builder. Well done for making it this far. And what we're going to do is give you your final feedback and do this through a live demo. So what we're going to do is I'm going to do a full demo lesson. So what I'll do is I'll share my screen and I will do the question myself. And what I'll do is I will take you through how I would think about the question, how I would think about writing it, and write it live on the screen for you. So this will bring together all of the things that we have learnt throughout this course, and so that you can learn from it and compare your own writing and compare your own thinking. Also, what we'll do is we'll talk about how to take things to the next level. We do have a very small number of places available on our VIP course, and I'll tell you a little bit about that at the end of this video. Okay, so hopefully you can see this. This is a document on Google Docs, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the question that you have already attempted, and I haven't looked at it, I haven't prepared an answer or anything like that, and I'm going to just do it as if I was a student doing the test. Obviously, I have to talk you through it because you can't read my thoughts, but I'll try and talk as much as I can about how I'm thinking about the question and as I write it. Now, because I'm doing it live, I will make small mistakes, and that's all part of the process, and I'll go and edit it at the end as you would do in the real exam. Now, let's start. So the first thing we need to do is we need to understand the question. So artificial intelligence will soon replace teachers in the classroom. So artificial intelligence, AI, deep learning, computer learning, whatever way you want to put it, will replace teachers in the classroom. So this is going to understand this. I need to think about teachers and education. So what we're going to have is we're not going to have teachers. Instead, we're going to have artificial intelligence. So students will be learning by looking at computers or speaking to, an AI robot or something like that, and it will be in the classroom. So I understand that, and that's going to be in the near future. So it hasn't happened yet, but it will be in the near future. So in the test, the first thing I would do is just sit calmly and not try and think of any ideas or not try and think of how to answer the question at all. Do one thing at a time and just think about what this means. Because if you don't understand what it means, then you're not going to be able to answer the question. The next thing I'd do is I would look at the type of question it is. So we have two clear questions here, so it's a double question, so I understand what that one is. So what I would do now is I would just separate this out. Most people are not good at multitasking. What you want to do is give each question just total focus. So I'm going to ignore this question for the time being, and I'm just going to look at this one. So do you agree with this statement? So there's only two possible answers to this. Again, as I always say, keeping it simple, there's only two possible answers. Yes, artificial intelligence will soon replace teachers in the classroom, or no, they won't. Now, you could give your personal opinion, but the best way to answer this is just which one can I easily write about? Which one is the easiest to think of an idea, explain that idea, and to support with an argument, support with evidence? And I think the easiest one, because it's the near future. You're not talking about 100 years. No, I don't think that they will replace teachers. And the reason for that is I can think of, immediately 2 or 3 really good reasons why they won't, and I can explain that, and I can support that with evidence. So I'm going to think no for this one. So what I need to do now is think of an idea. So I would just think, imagine I'm sitting with a friend and they said to me, do you think that artificial intelligence will soon replace teachers in the classroom? No. So why would I think that? What would be the first reason to pop into my head? Another way to think about it would be, if this question was asked, if 100 people were asked this question just randomly, what would be the most common reason? I'd say there'd be two most common reasons. Would be teachers are needed for support. So that's things like, you know, feedback and discipline, things like that. So, you know, a computer can't really provide feedback. It can't really get, you know, control children, especially young children. So that would be idea one. An alternative idea would be AI is not advanced enough. AI just isn't smart enough yet to really teach children or teach anybody. It's not just children. So it's talking about the classroom, but you know, adults are in the classroom too. So it wouldn't just hone in on children. So what I do here is kind of put these together and put AI is not advanced enough to provide to educate, and I'll just put some ideas here, because remember, it's just the ideas phase. We haven't begun writing yet, and obviously you wouldn't take this amount of time. I'm explaining this and talking through it, and you know, in the real test I would do this in, you know, 1 or 2 minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep that one. How would I explain this? So a teacher needs to give feedback and support and discipline. Again, just very basic notes. I know that that's not grammatically correct or anything like that. It's just doing quick notes. I think example I would use for this would be Google Translate. So if you look at Google Translate, it has 2 major flaws. The first major flaw would be it's not very good at translating language, demonstrating that AI is not advanced enough. And the other thing is that like a program like Google Translate obviously can't, you know, identify strengths and weaknesses, you know, provide practice, things like that. So this is a very, you know, an example of AI, an example of a computer program that isn't a tool that is involved in education, but it's just not there yet. Maybe in 20 years it will be, but not there. So we already have like the bones of the structure of an argument here. You wouldn't go into too much detail, just very brief notes. And then what you would do is just stop thinking about this one and move on to the next one. And again, it's taken me, I don't know how long to do that, but in the real test it would be, you know, a minute or 2 just to note down these things. So what is an alternative to traditional face-to-face teaching? Okay, so idea that will pop into my head would be an online course. Because I run an online course, but online course, a teacher can remotely do all of the things that a regular teacher can also do. Also access to the best teachers in the world. You know, in your local area, you might not have access to really good teachers, but if you're using an online course, normally, you know, you could have access to literally the best teacher in the world, and they could be on the other side of the planet. Example, so a lot of the best universities in the world have online courses now, where they record the lectures and they put them online, and then they provide like individual classes and practice activities and all of these different things. So already this is my paragraph. All right. So to check back, always check back to the question. So this is good. Do you agree? No, I don't. Here's my reason. What is an alternative? Here's my alternative. Here's an explanation about why, why is it a good alternative? And then an example here. I could use my own course, but I'm not going to. Okay, so this is my argument. Now, what you could do now is you could do a full So let me just obviously you won't be able to color code in the real test, but it'll make it easier for you to understand this. Main body paragraph 1. Let's put I'm not going to get into an argument about what soft skills are, but just for the sake of in the test, if just to encapsulate what that is, and let's put so that's my main body here, main body 2. Online courses, that could be 2 separate ideas, 2 separate explanations. What I tend to do when I'm planning stuff out is I don't really delete stuff. If I have like a couple of ideas or a couple of explanations or a few different examples, I normally just keep them in here. So that gives me the freedom when I'm let's put that in there just in case I do use that, because when you start writing, ideas pop into your head and you can go in different directions, so it's good to just have a few different options here. Conclusion, summary of above. So what this does, so now we have our complete plan, and what this does in the real test is it allows us to be certain about what we're doing, because if you don't have a plan, you don't know where you're going. And there's this quote, I think it's Warren Buffett said, who's was the richest man in the world, an idiot with a plan can outperform a genius without a plan. And the same is true for this. Like someone with a very, very high level of English who just starts writing without any plan might not do as well as someone who is more organized and has the plan down. Because what happens is you start to write without a plan, and then you change direction and you get lost, and then you have to start again, and time is running out and you're in all sorts of trouble. So doing something like this, and again, in the real test, this would take me just a few minutes, but it is an investment of time, and we know exactly what to do now. Okay, so now we're ready to start. when you are paraphrasing, always have this with you. So let's say, so normally you wouldn't just abbreviate words. Like I've shortened artificial intelligence to AI, let's say FBI, everyone knows that that's the Federal Bureau of Investigation. CIA, everyone knows that's the Central Intelligence Agency. If it's commonly known, everybody knows that AI means artificial intelligence. So if it's a common thing, then that's no problem. But you couldn't, replace teachers with RT. Like that's not commonly known. BBC, British Broadcasting Corporation, you can do that. So just be careful with shortening stuff. But for the purposes of this is fine. So AI could Okay, so AI, artificial intelligence, could take the place of, will soon replace, could take the place of teachers. I'm going to keep teachers because in the test, what might happen is when you're paraphrasing, you might be like, teachers, 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 teachers. I can't think of anything. Oh, I can't think of it. And then you're wasting time and then you panic. Like if you have to replace one word or you can't replace one word, that's no problem. They're not going to mark you down for that. In the near future, will soon replace it. Will soon in the near future. So that's fine. I'm happy enough with that. Also, like students get so obsessed with not repeating words. For key words that have no or very limited ways of changing them, it is fine if you do repeat them. You should change them as much as possible, but only as much as possible. There's a limited number of ways that you can change teachers. Teachers, you could have educators, education, people that teach, things like that, and we'll try and do that as much as possible. But remember the purpose of the test. The purpose of the test is to assess whether you can clearly communicate in English through writing an essay. If you repeat a few words, that's not going to be a big problem. The big problem is the bigger things involved in like the accuracy of your vocabulary, the appropriacy of your vocabulary, your grammar, your coherence and cohesion, your task achievement. So let's remind ourselves of the question. Do you agree with this statement? So this essay disagrees with this statement because computers, which is kind of a catch-all term for AI, are not advanced enough yet. And second question, always refer back and students can effectively use online courses. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to, instead of immediately jumping into the next paragraph, read this and make sure that it makes sense, there's no mistakes. You're going to make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. I'm doing this live. I will probably make a series of mistakes. AI could take the place of teachers in the near future. Many believe that AI. This essay disagrees with this statement because computers are not advanced enough yet, and students can effectively use online courses instead of attending class. Very clear. Like if you gave that to someone, they would know exactly what I thought about that, and two very clear reasons. Okay, so so computer learning is not at the stage yet where it can do the job of an effective educator. Okay, so I'm saying that they're not advanced enough yet. Exactly what I said up here. This is, so I need to explain that this is because students require many things that It's because students require many things that a computer cannot provide, such as feedback, emotional support, and assessment. These soft skills that teachers have are absolutely essential for the proper education of a child or adult. There is no computer program that can compete with human beings. And there is no computer program that can compete with human beings. At this level. Okay, let's read this. Computer learning is not at the stage yet where it can do the job of an effective educator. This is because students require many things that a computer cannot provide, such as feedback, emotional support, and assessment. These soft skills are absolutely essential for the proper education of a child or adult, and there is no computer program that can compete with human beings in these areas. Okay, for example, so I'm not going to use, I know up here we put translate, but just as I was writing, I was thinking of a better example that is linked to this, because we want to link all this together with the example, and that's Grammarly. Grammarly, you can check it out. It's a tool that checks your English, checks your grammar, but it has some major weaknesses. So it's perfect for this. For example, Grammarly is a program an application that can check for grammar errors but it falls short for English learners because it cannot tell someone what their main weaknesses are or explain why the mistake was made or how it can be fixed. So, for example, Grammarly is an application that can check for grammar errors, but it falls short for English learners because it cannot tell someone what their main weaknesses are or explain why the mistake was made or how it can be fixed. Okay. So I'm happy enough with that, and we can move on to the next one. So remember, alternative, check back here. However, online courses can be used by teachers to improve lessons. Okay, so just explaining how to do online courses make education better. So, compare IELTS is a really good example. Compare your local IELTS teacher who maybe doesn't know much about IELTS, but is working out of their local school, and compare that with the very best in their field who can record lessons and through things like Skype provide interactive feedback, or through online course platforms provide practice activities, and it just enhances the whole experience. For example, the very best universities in the world and I offer online learning platforms that allow anyone in the world to learn to enjoy their courses for free, and also have the option of having feedback sessions with their tutors through Skype. Okay, let's have a read of this. However, online courses can be used by teachers to improve lessons. That is to say that they could enhance their ability to teach by using technology. This allows the very best in their field to reach anyone in the world, record their lessons, and provide interactive feedback. For instance, the very best universities in the world, namely, now offer online learning platforms that allow anyone to enjoy their courses for free, and also have the option of having feedback sessions with their tutors through Skype. Okay. I want to link it back to the question a little bit. This does not replace the teacher, but makes them even more effective and available to a wider number of pupils. Okay. So I'm happy enough with that. Now I can do the conclusion. So the conclusion, what I'm going to do is look up here at the introduction, and I'm just going to paraphrase this. So although neural they've not reached the point where they can educate at an effective level due to lacking pedagogical is a fancy word for education. So although neural networks have made great strides in the past number of years, they have not reached the point where they can educate at an effective level due to lacking. However, teachers, I know I've repeated teachers many times, I'll explain this in a second. However, teachers can and I've probably repeated technology as well. Don't be freaking out. Don't be like many people do. Teachers can use technology. Okay. Okay, so I mentioned vocabulary there and repeating words. So what I found with both students and myself is often you'll get to the end, or even at the beginning, it doesn't matter where, but particularly at the end, you'll get, and you'll be like, oh, I've used this word so many times, or I've used this word so many times, and it actually stops you thinking and writing. And what you need to do is you need to write, you need to think, you need to get the answer on the paper. So a lot of people think that it is a vocabulary test instead of a writing test. So it's better to repeat some words, and then what you can do is you can go back and look and see, have I repeated these words? Is there any way that I can vary them at the end? Because it's very, very difficult to think of vocabulary, writing, ideas, all of these different things at the same time. It's better just to focus on one thing at a time. So, need to read this. Although neural networks have made great strides in the past number of years, they have not reached the point where they can educate at an effective level due to lacking pedagogical skills. However, teachers can use these tools, particularly online courses, to enhance their teaching and help even more people learn. Okay, so now what I need to do is I need to read the whole thing again to check grammar, to check vocabulary, to check all of these different things. So let's read that. Many believe that AI could take the place of teachers in the near future. This essay disagrees with this statement because computers are not advanced enough yet, and students can effectively use online courses. Okay. Computer learning is not at the stage yet where it can do the job of an effective educator. This is because students require many things that a computer cannot provide, such as feedback, emotional support, and assessment. These soft skills are absolutely essential for the proper education of a child or adult, and there's no computer program that can compete with human beings in these areas. For example, Grammarly is an application that can check grammar errors, but it falls short for English learners because it cannot tell someone what their main weaknesses are or explain why the mistake was made or how it can be fixed. However, online courses can be used by teachers to improve lessons. That is to say that they can enhance their ability to teach by using technology. But this technology, because we're referring to online courses. This allows the very best in their field to reach anyone in the world, record their lessons, and provide interactive feedback. For example, the very best universities in the world, namely Harvard, now offer online learning platforms that allow anyone to join their courses for free. Let's say lectures. And also have the option of having feedback sessions with their tutors through Skype. This does not replace the teacher, but makes them even more effective and available to a wider audience. Although neural networks have made great strides in the past number of years, they have not reached the point where they can educate at an effective level due to lacking pedagogical skills. However, teachers can use... Okay. So now what you can do is you can go through and see if there are any ways that you can improve the vocabulary a little bit. So what you do is just check, see if there are any words. So teachers, let's change that one to lecture because we're talking about universities. Is there any other ways you could do that? Teacher. And you're not going to have time to really spend an hour thinking about different ways to write teachers. Let's put instructors, just to keep the vocabulary Nazis happy. Online courses we did put that. Let's put distance learning. And there's no other way of saying that. There's no, without getting really contrived. Anything else we could? So here we have computer. One thing is to remember that you shouldn't just look and see computer. You should look at the collocation. So computer learning, computer program, that wouldn't be considered repeating that. So don't worry. Computers, plural form of it, so don't worry about that. You can drive yourself crazy with this and really mess your whole essay up by changing things in a way that's just wrong. Feedback sessions. Let's change that to evaluation. And change this to competent. Okay, so I'm happy enough with that. And if you had time, you would give it one last check, for any little grammar errors or anything like that. But what you would do is you use that checklist that I gave you in the previous lesson to think about your own essay. Don't look at your own essay and be like, oh, I can never use grammar or I can never use vocabulary the way Chris does or anything. I'm a native English speaker. I was lucky enough to be born in an English-speaking country. It's also my job to teach English. So, don't think that because your vocabulary is not as advanced as mine, don't think you're going to fail. You only probably need a band 7, which is much lower than the level of this essay. So don't worry about don't make too many comparisons. Also, don't worry if your ideas weren't exactly the same. You can use different ideas. What you want to be doing is thinking about the core things. So did you paraphrase effectively? Is your introduction effective? Is your main body paragraph effective? Is your other one effective? Is your conclusion effective? Is your grammar as accurate as it can be? Is your vocabulary as accurate as it can be? Are your main ideas clear and well developed? And have you clearly answered the question? And if you can answer those questions, then you'll be absolutely fine and way above what most people are. But you probably need a little bit of extra help, and let's talk about that now. So, taking things to the next level. So if you need more help with writing, help with task 1 tests, help with the other types of questions, you need help with speaking, reading, listening, anything you need is included in the most successful online or offline course in the world. We have helped more students get the scores they need than anyone else in the world, whether that's an offline or online course. Does it actually work? Well, let me show you something. So no other course in the world has this number of successful students. We're not saying that we are the best in the world. What we do is just ask people to judge us on our results, and more importantly, our student results. As you can see here, this is just one person after the other, all at a 7 or above. If you look at these in detail, you'll see that it's all life-changing stuff here, and it's just one happy person after the other. And if you consider that we only work with a very, very, very small number of people, the number of happy students is unbelievable. And then if you also look here, a lot of other schools have testimonials. No other school has one-on-one interviews with their past students. Every single one of these videos is a one-on-one interview with a past student, all of them talking about how happy they are and how life-changing it was to join IELTS VIP. So if you're ready to take things to the next level, you need to be aware of a few things. We only allow a very, very small number of people to join our course. It's a VIP course. We're going to give you VIP treatment. We cannot give that VIP treatment to everybody because it's just impossible to do that. So we only work with a very small number of people, and we have to keep numbers low to keep standards high. And you've seen this week what happens when we don't. So what's the difference between this like mini course, this essay builder course, and the VIP course? So this essay builder course was good. It's kind of like a tuk-tuk. It'll get you to where you're going, but it's not obviously a Rolls Royce. VIP course is the Rolls Royce of IELTS courses. It's going to take you by the hand and show you exactly what you need to do in order to get the scores that you need. So what now? So you can join here. We have a few places available that you can join immediately, but you can only join at this link. This is a special link just for you. If you go to other links, you will not be able to join. It's closed to the general public. So if you go to IELTSadvantage.com/VIP Academy, you will be able to get in today. If you have any questions, you can email me, chris@IELTSadvantage.com, and either myself or one of my team will get back to you. But go and have a look at this link. We'll also email it to you. There's a video telling you everything you need to know about what's included and how to join and pricing and all of those different things. Go to that link, and then if you have any questions, feel free to email me. Thank you very much, guys. It was an absolute pleasure to teach you. Hope that you enjoyed the course, and I look forward to welcoming a few of you into the VIP course. Thank you very much, guys. Bye-bye.